Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I am playing the Tier 9 French battleship Alsace. I'm sure that that pronunciation is just terrible. It's probably something more along the lines of Alsace. Maybe I'll just stick with Alsace, regardless of the fact that it's probably wrong too. Um, the Alsace is a very fun ship to play. I mentioned this in the Lion replay. Let me go in here and fix this real quick. Since the 10.5 update, these won't stay set, so I have to go in and manually do it for replays. They stay set fine in the game, but for whatever reason, on replays, I have to go in and manually do this. The Alsace is a fun ship. I had half a dozen or so Tier 9 ships that were just kind of sitting for a while as I was trying to build up some elite commander XP. So I was playing a lot of my destroyers where I already had 21-point commanders. But I finally got to the point where I felt like I was okay with the number of 21-point commanders that I had for what I was trying to accomplish, and I was able to finish off 2 or 3 Tier 9 cruiser grinds to pick up the Tier 10s, and then start on the battleships. Just before moving to the Alsace, I ground my way through the Lion, which I made a replay of that you may or may not have already seen, and got the Conqueror. And so now I'm working my way through the Alsace and trying to get to the République. Now, matchmaking. Well, everything in the game is Tier 9. That's pretty fair, kind of by default. We've got Iowa, Georgia, Alsace, Izumo, Sovietsky Soyuz in terms of battleships. That matches up reasonably well with what the bad guys have got. Cruisers. We've got Alaska, Neptune, Kronstadt. I give the edge to the bad guys there. Neptune is an exceptionally squishy ship. It has paper armor, a huge citadel box, and pretty much anybody in the game who's played the game for any length of time knows that if you see a Neptune, take the shot, because even DDs can citadel the Neptune, and battleships can one-shot it right out of the game. So I give the edge to the bad guys in terms of cruisers. And in destroyers, well, they've got the Mogador and Felix Schultz division. Presumably they'll be working together. That can be a very effective combination. Felix Schultz can provide smoke for Mogador, and Mogador has incredible guns. Now you can see the Paolo Emilio out there for the bad guys. I don't think he's going to survive long. He's pushing into a Fletcher and an Estergötland. He's also got an Alaska out there who can radar him, and then a couple of battleships. And the Georgia secondaries are just brutal. So if it gets close and it remains seen, he's going to take a lot of damage. Now, in the meantime, our Alaska just gets smacked. And what am I doing? Why am I sitting here? Well, on most maps, not every time, but on most maps, depending upon how things unfold at the beginning, I generally try to cover the middle. You can see with the range that I have on this ship, at this point I can cover almost all 3 caps. And I'm trying to get some idea of how the opposing team has positioned itself, so I know how to best position myself. And at this point, I'm pretty well committed to helping at Bravo and Charlie. We've got our Sovietsky Soyuz, he's committed. And our Neptune, well, our Neptune probably should be committed. He's too close. And I have a feeling he may get sunk just sitting there in the smoke. You can blind fire a Neptune. They're big. They sit pretty high in the water. And again, a huge citadel area. But even if he survives this, sitting in smoke, I question why he smoked up there rather than kind of running into the cap and then smoking up. But regardless, I'm here because it looks to me like our Yugumo needs some help if he's going to have any good effect. He's trying to stay out of range of the Alaska, which is smart. Now on this side, we've got on the opposing team the Sovietsky Soyuz and the Iowa and Alaska, and I think we match up pretty well because I've got an Iowa behind me, Sovietsky Soyuz right in front of me, and we've still got a Kronstadt back there. I don't think he's moved yet, but he's probably going to spawn in here shortly. And like I said early on, in general, I always expect the Neptune to be the first ship we lose on our team, and this is no exception. I have to say that at least now the Neptune is moving into the cap. And I'm going to start taking some fire. You can see I've got a speed boost on this ship, and that does help a little. And I'm just drawing some fire. Our Sovietsky Soyuz can reposition. I'm going to get a broadside shot on this Alaska. And he's angling, but I'm still able to pick up a Citadel there and smack the Alaska for almost 23,000 damage. I'll take that. Now I just have to hope I can survive and get behind these rocks. So we know we've got a Yugumo there, Drake farther back, Sovietsky Soyuz farther back, Izumo farther back, Alaska, Iowa, and Yugumo up close. Now, I'm going to hurt the Yugumo here, but I don't think I can kill him. But, you know, when you're playing a battleship, you got to be willing to shoot at destroyers. Because even if you don't sink the destroyer, if you help your destroyers be able to finish them off, you're helping your team in a big way. Yugumo is an incredibly deadly destroyer. And the enemy Yugumo does take out our Yugumo with torpedoes. I hold my fire here because I want to get a shot on the Iowa, and it's turning in. I'm hoping I can still do some damage. I'm showing a lot of broadside here to the Alaska. Yeah. Iowa was able to angle a little bit more than I was hoping. Now I have to angle, and I'm going to work on spinning my guns around. Now I'm drawing some fire here for sure, and I do take some fairly significant damage there. But I'm going to be okay. And I might get another broadside shot on the Iowa or the Drake. Drake's turning in, so I'm going to switch to the Iowa. Dispersion looks decent. Let's see how this turns out. 6,300, it's not great, but I'll take it. Now our Iowa, I have no idea why. It seems kind of, well, it doesn't seem like it was a very good idea. Our Iowa is literally pushed up in exactly the same line as our Sovietsky Soyuz. So the enemy Yugumo really only has to throw torpedoes in one area, and he might get 2 battleships for his trouble. It just drives me nuts when I see that from battleship players. Spread out. Look for somebody's broadside. Anyhow, I'm going to move center again because I'm burning. I'm down to well under half of my hit points. And I'm going to try and get healed up back here a little bit. And I will be looking for broadside shots myself. And Sovietsky Soyuz is giving me one. So I'm going to take the shot. See, I was already turning out. Trying to change my angle, minimize potential return fire. And I do manage to pick up a Citadel on the Sovietsky Soyuz. And I happen to know that is a very good player, and I feel pretty good about that. Now, the bad guys have secured Alpha. We kind of pushed all of our guys into a group south of there. Our Neptune secured Bravo. Yay, Neptune. The Iowa that I said I wasn't very impressed with this positioning, well, yeah, what did I say about the Yugumo? And we also lose our Izumo to the Friedrich the Grosse. Now, that means we're down 3 ships. We've lost Iowa, Izumo, Yugumo. Our Fletcher is almost dead, but he's a pretty decent player, and I think he's going to do all he can to stay alive. The bad guys have lost Lepanto, Mogador, and Paolo Emilio. And I'm going to get a broadside shot on the Drake. Now, I'm showing a little bit of broadside myself here. So I'm going to turn in. Wasn't the Citadels I was hoping for, but it still was fairly significant damage. I'm going to have another heal up here in 32 seconds. I'm just going to angle up, tank what damage I need to. Iowa, he knows right where to shoot. He's doing a good job. I actually showed him a little more side than I should have, I think. Their Drake is trying to stay angled a little bit. And Drake is fairly tanky for a cruiser. 2 overpens, 1 ricochet. That hurts, especially at that range. Tier 9 battleship and a cruiser. But our Yugumo torpedoes him and sinks him. And at this point, bad guys are down 5 ships and we're only down 4. Now they do have a two cap to one advantage. And there's that very good player I was talking about. I managed to avoid his shells just by continuing to turn out. You can see torpedoes coming. I think if I just keep running, I'm going to be able to outrun those. In fact, probably right around here is where those torpedoes are going to stop. I'll try to get another shot on that Soyuz back there. I've got a minute and 10 seconds till I can heal up anymore. So I've got to do what I can to mitigate damage. Oh, he just slowed down and turned out. Now, while I've been talking, our guys at A have been kind of repositioning. You can see the Kronstadt's gone inside with the Eger and the de Grosse. Georgia has gone, well, inside on the map, but outside relative to those two ships in the Alpha Cap. And he's going to have some broadsides, and he's really fast. And if he, maybe I can finish this Yugamo. Yeah, there we go. And that's what I was talking about earlier. If you're in a battleship and you get a shot on a DD, take it. Don't be concerned about farming damage on the battleships. Try to get the destroyers. And while that's happened, our Alaska finished off Eger, our Estergetland finished off de Grosse, and Georgia is now in a position to be able to help at Bravo, where Kronstadt and Estergetland can work on picking up the Alpha Cap. And this game has an entirely different complexion now. Our Sovietsky Soyuz does go down. He didn't really have anywhere to go, unfortunately, and he can't really show any broadside. Now I'm going to go dark, and I'm going to reposition. Rather than continuing the line I'm in, I'm going to take my own advice. And I'm going to change my angle a little bit, try and get guns again on the Sovietsky Soyuz. You can see he's got his guns pointed out this way, but he's got to decide whether to shoot at me or at Georgia. Now, I thought for a second about turning toward Charlie, and I probably, given what just happened with that shot, probably should have. But I was trying to help the Georgia. Now, the Georgia is very fast, and my hope is that he's going to be able to rush down the Sovietsky Soyuz, get his broadside, and blap him. Now, I'm in just the absolute wrong position here. If I had gone the other direction, if I had turned to starboard rather than to port, I would have had that Sovietsky Soyuz's broadside. But my guns might have taken a little while longer to turn, etc. All that's academic because Georgia just blapped him. Now the red Alaska took out our destroyer, but we are still sitting with a 5-ship to 3 advantage. We've got a 2-cap to 1 advantage. Our Georgia is squaring off with the Iowa, and as I mentioned earlier, the Iowa, he's a pretty good shot. He knows what he's doing. Now I'm going to start switching the guns, rotating them to the port side of the ship. Take advantage of the fact that I am currently undetected. Got another heal available in 20 seconds. And I'm hoping that our Georgia is going to be able to repeat what he just did. But knowing that the Iowa was pretty good with those guns, kudos to you, Red Alert. I'll do what I can to help, but I was already turning in. I had to be angled to the Azuma in Alaska. Now, Iowa's still got 51,000 hit points. Georgia's down to 26. Probably not going to go well for Georgia, and it does not. But the way that he's positioned himself, he's dragging the Iowa around in a circle, and our Estergetland's torpedoes are just going to be right there to meet him. So we lose our Georgia, but the bad guys immediately lose their Iowa. Well done, Estergetland. Tobacco XD. And here I am squaring off with an Izumo. And now we have a points lead, we've got a caps lead, we've got a ship lead. This looks pretty good. And what do I think of the Alsace? Well, I like it. It's got 380s. The guns are not, they don't have a whole lot of punch. If you can catch something broadside, you can do significant damage, and they're murder on most cruisers. It's fairly quick, decent range. You can see the range out there. It's significant. I like it. I enjoy playing it, and I look forward to picking up the Republic when I get to that point. This Izumo, if he doesn't change his angle, he's in big trouble. And I'm not going to fire again until I have a Citadel shot. He's actually nosing out. That's going to give me even a better angle, and he's about to get blacked. And that's it for him. And now it's just the Alaska that's left for the bad guys. I picked up the Confederate with that shot. And now it's just a question of who's going to finish off the Alaska. Both teams had some guys that knew how to play. This was a fun one. It really was. Another tip of the hat to their Iowa player. I think he did a pretty good job, all things considered. The couple of trades I had with him, he definitely got the better of. I hope you enjoyed watching this replay with me. It was a fun one to play. It wasn't too flashy, but you can see the potential with this ship, I'm sure. And presumably the Republic is every bit as fun, but a little bit more capable. If you haven't already, if you enjoyed this, I'd appreciate it if you'd consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you next time.